Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Seva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudare Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Chananda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam session, Canto 11, text chapter 5, text number 18. Name of the chapter Narada's teachings to Vasudeva. Hitvatma Maya Rachita Gruhapatya Suhut Striyaha Tamo Vishanti Anichanto Vasudeva Paranmukaha. Hitva, giving up, word by word meaning. Atma Maya, by the illusory energy of the Supreme Soul. Rachitaha, manufactured. Graha, homes. Apatya, children. Suhrut, friends. Striya, wives. Tamaha, into darkness. Vishanti, they enter. Achintaha, without desiring. Vasudeva Parakmukaha, those who have turned away from Lord Vasudeva. Translation purport given by disciples of Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Those who have turned away from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, being under the spell of Lord's illusory energy, are eventually forced to give up their so-called homes, children, friends, wives, and lovers, which are all created by the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, and enter against their will into the darkest regions of the universe. Purport. The living entity turns his back on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and tries instead to enjoy temporary sense gratification. The result is simply anxiety, as the conditioned soul struggles to maintain his temporary wife, children, friends, home, nation, etc. Finally, all of these things are taken away, and the bewildered soul, in great frustration, sometimes tries to take shelter of an impersonal concept of God and liberation. Those sense gratification are trying to avoid sense gratification by merging into the impersonal aspect of the Lord called Brahman, but the actual position of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Person who is the Master, and unless one gives up one's inimical feelings towards the Supreme Personality of God, there is no question of peace or happiness. There is a very beautiful sloka quoted by, written by His Divine Grace Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita 19.149. Krishna Bhakta Niskama Ateva Shanta Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. Very beautiful sloka. This is very important sloka also. And we'll recite text number 19. Shri Rajo Vacha Kashmin Kalesha Bhagavan Kim Varnaha Kidrusho Nirabi Namna Vakena Vidana Pujyate Tad Ichoyatam. Shri Raja Vachake, the king said, Kasmin, in what kale time, Sahi Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Kim Varnaha, having what color, Kidrushaha, having what form, Nurabi, by men, Namna, by what names, Va, Kena, by what Vidina, process, Pujyate is worshipped, that Iha, in our presence, Uchutam, please speak. Translation. King Nima inquired, in what colors and forms does the Supreme Personality of God appear in each of the different ages, and with what names and by what types of regulative principles is the Lord worshipped in human society? It has been clearly established in the previous verse of that human life is spoiled if one does not surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in his loving devotional service. Therefore, the king is now requesting the sages to give specific details about the worship of the Lord, because this devotional process has clearly been described as the only practical means of delivering the conditioned souls. Shri Karabhajana Vacha Krutam Treta Dvaparam Cha Kalir Itiyeshu Keshavaha Nana Varna Abhida Karo Naneva Vidinjayate. Shri Karabhajana Vacha. Karabhajana, Sri Karabhajana said, Kritam Satya, Treta, Dwaparam, Dwapara, Cha, and Kali, Kali, it was named. Keshavu in these stages, Keshavaha, the Supreme Lord Keshava, Nana, various Varna, waving complexions, Avidya, names, Akaraha, and forms, sorry, Akaraha, Nana, various Seva, similarly, Vidina, by processes, Ijayate is worshipped. Sri Karabhajana replied, in each of the four ages, Kritatreta, Dwapara, and Kali Lord Keshava appears with various complexions, names, and forms, and is thus worshipped by various processes. Kritesh Shuklas, Chatur Bahur, Jatilo, Valkalambaraha, 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 Krishna, Krishnajina Upavita, Krishnajina Upavitakshan, Bibradhanda Kamandalu. Kritiya in Satyayuga, Shukla white, Chaturbahu having four arms, Chatilaha with matted locks, Valkalambaraha wearing a garment of the tree bark, Krishna Ajina, a black deer skin, Upavita, a Brahmana sacred thread, Upavita, sacred thread, Brahmanas, Akshan, prayer beads made of Aksha seeds, Vibrat carrying Danda rod, Kamandalu, water pot. Translation in Satyuga, the Lord is white and four armed as matted locks and wears a garment of tree bark. He carries a black deer skin and a sacred thread, prayer beads, and the rod and water pot of a brahmachari. Manunyastu tadashanta nirvaira suhrudah samaha yajanti tapasa devam samena cha damena cha manusha human beings. This is text number 22. Tu and tada when shantaha peaceful, nirvaira free from envy, suhrudaha friendly to all, sama equipoised, yajanti they worship, tapasa by the austerity of meditation. Devam, the Supreme Personality of God, Samena by controlling the mind, Cha also Damena by controlling the external senses, Cha and. People in Satya Yuga are peaceful, non envious, friendly to every creature, and steady in all situations. They worship the Supreme Personality of Supreme Personality by austere meditation and by internal and external sense control. In Satya Yuga, the Supreme Lord incarnates is a four-armed brahmachari described in the previous verses and person introduced the process of meditation. Hare Krishna Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmita Mena Tasmae Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. So this is a very interesting and amazing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 11th. It's very, very useful and it gives us, remind us as how one should do devotion service perfectly and how one should incur from his spiritual master or like great sages like Narada Muni. So how Vasudeva was receiving the teachings from Sri Narada Muni. You can also see in first canto that how Vyasadeva himself, the literal incarnate of Krishna, received teachings and spiritual enlightenment from Narada Muni by his own experience. So similarly here also Vasudeva, the father of Vasudeva, Krishna, receiving ample of teachings from Srila Narada Muni, the great saintly person, and who is the Triloka Sanchara, is also called Triloka Sanchara, and is also called Devarshi Narada. So, the main intention and the uh, service of saintly persons like Narada Muni is to deliver the conditioned souls from this uh, precarious position of this from this precarious position of this material world. So in the material world, the conditioned souls, because of their bad gap bargaining from the lotus, uh, I mean the from the supreme lord in the spiritual planets like Vaikuntha and Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. So they come here to enjoy and to become a boss, or as Prabhupada says, lording over the material nature. So keeping that as intention, they come to this material world. So after uh, drowning in this material world, fully drenched, and they come to know, they realize that this is not the place. Like in Gita, it says that four groups of people surrender to the Lord, and four groups of people will not surrender to the Lord. So before that, the four people who doesn't surrender, who will not surrender to this Lord, the atheists are Naradamas, lowest of mankind, the foolish people. So all these people will not surrender, and the persons who are in want of knowledge and who is inquisitive, and one who is fully exhausted in this material world by experiencing a lot of bitterness and lot of torture from his relatives, families, friends, society, community, and whatnot, from a lot of other different groups of people, from Nastikas, atheists, and from political uh, policies. So they will be getting fried up with all these things, and they'll get roasted. After then, they will realize that I must surrender to the Lord. Artho Jignasho, it is said by Krishna in Gita to Arjuna. So that's when the soul realizes, because the soul experiences a lot of inconvenience and discomfort while experiencing, while the soul wants to experience the happiness which longs lost not even a fraction of second. So for that fraction of happiness, the soul will spend his uh, whole journey of this, a whole journey in this human life. So getting nothing after doing so many hardships and slogging in hot sun and scorching heat, and also shivering cold. So, as said by the great acharyas and the Gaudiya uh, acharya called Govinda Krishnaraj in that song. So, just for the fraction of second of happiness, he faces so much hardships. So ultimately, and the fruits he gets is nothing. So that's why one should, the living entities should serve the Supreme Lord, who is his master, because we are all part and parcel of the Lord, and the part is supposed to serve the whole. Unless one gives up one's inimical feelings towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no question of peace or happiness. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama, the devotee of Krishna doesn't have any karma or any desires. That is why he will all be always peaceful, he will be always tolerance, and he is always selfless in serving others, also in serving Supreme Personality of God also. But the Mukti Kami or Siddhi Kami, who is always Mukti Siddhi Kami, is always Ashanta, is not at all peaceful because he has some desires or some hidden thoughts and desires will be there in his heart. That's why he cannot be Ashanta. He will be always Ashanta. So the verse number 19 says that the king Nimi enquires to Karabhajana, one of the Navayogendras, Karabhajana Maharaj, and that please narrate me about the colors, forms, and of the Supreme Personality because in each of the different ages. So the Sri Karabhajana Maharaj says that in Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Satya Yuga, Lord comes in different colors and different forms. In Satya Yuga, he comes in a Sveta form, Sukla form, it is white in color, and he is four-armed and has matted locks and wears a garment of tree bark, and he carries a black deer skin, a sacred thread, prayer beads, and the rod and the water pot of a brahmachari. So people in Satyyoga, the characteristics of Satyyoga people are like this. They are very peaceful, nervousness, non-invasiveness, friendly to everyone, to every creature, and a study in all situations, and always have spiritual inclinations, and the mood and consciousness is to serve the Lord and spread this God consciousness to each and every soul. Hare Krishna. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल.